Well, guys, we are back for another episode of the Liberal Asshole Show, episode 114. And what are today's topics?
Right-wingers mad about trans clone trooper and Star Wars getting political. Steam forced to admit you don't own games. North Korea declares war on Ukraine. Obama goes full Warden on Trump. Tim Walz destroyed dipshit elongated Musgrave. Trump has another Hitler moment. And Tulsi Gabbard completes her grift.
Oh boy, what a bunch of topics today, before the election next week. So, what do we talk about first?
Oh, let's start with getting my thing out of the way.
Yep. Of course, as a Star Wars fan you are, so what are Karens crying about now?
They're crying about the clone known as Sister, a transgender clone that's been around for 2 years.
So it's not something from like decades ago they're crying about?
No, but this is 2 years ago. And Michael Knowles specifically spent like 3 minutes going after this, and I'm like, dude, and he even admits at the start that he didn't know the difference between a stormtrooper and a clone trooper. So you can tell that he's just doing this because he hates because he wants to murder transgender people.
You're saying he's as ignorant of the series as I am.
Yeah, actually, probably even more because you probably absorbed a little bit through me through osmosis.
And Aaron and Gavin, and I've seen Star Wars stuff all my life. It's not like I'm completely ignorant, but I don't care about.
Michael Knowles is.
Yeah, because he's obsessed.
Michael Knowles is.
He probably wants to see Star Wars hentai. So
he probably does.
All right, so let's see good old Hunter Avalone making fun of him for being an idiot Karen.
Yep.
Video play, thank you.
So this just popped up on my feed. Another case of conservatives getting mad about something apparently going woke. This time, Michael Knowles is angry that Star Wars has introduced a transgender clone trooper. Keep in mind, it's literally in a new book.
Like, is this like a new character or something? Or is it just like
relatively new? She's been around for 2-3 years by now. So she's been around about as long as Omega has.
Or is it just like some random NPC that no one should care about?
She's got a thing, a bit in her own book. She's got a part of her own thing. She actually interacts with Anakin Skywalker at one point in the Clone Wars.
And to be clear up front, this is not the bullshit that they always cry about, like them changing characters and all that, right? This is a whole new person, right?
This is a whole new person. Whole new character.
Then shut up, conservatives. How about that one?
Yep.
A bunch of people angry about this, saying it breaks lore or something.
So how does it feel as a fan of Star Wars seeing this?
Again, I'm not a nerd.
It's hilarious how beyond ignorant Michael Knowles is.
Maybe you shouldn't talk about stuff you don't have any knowledge of, like I don't.
And I don't care that much about Star Wars.
Exactly.
Apparently Michael Knowles does, though. Star Wars.
Just wait till they go after my beloved Pokemon, then we're gonna have problems.
And I'm pretty sure.
Remember that no bullshit somehow made a Jewish question out of Pokemon related to Nessa.
Just remember, Misty's white. Remember.
Star Wars apparently still exists. You thought
it's a reminder that there's literally 2 white people in the entire first 4 generations. First one is Lieutenant Surge. He's from America.
Yep.
And second is Fantita, who's Colossian.
But see,
that's it. Maybe a couple of the other people in the Vermilion City gym are also white, since they implied they were fighting alongside Surge. That's it. Pretty much everyone else is Japanese, so they're Asian.
You expect no bullshit to know the first 4 reads are based in Japan, no?
He didn't know anything. He hasn't done a video in a year because he's an absolute moron. That's how much of an absolute moron he is. He couldn't even keep his fucking grift going.
Now let's see how much of an idiot Knowles is for you to be mad at.
Moving on. Star Wars has just transed a clone trooper. What is
trans
a clone
the
trooper?
clone character. You gotta say about that.
Clone trooper.
So he gave me his.
No, this is a new character. Not an old character being turned into a new character, being transgendered.
Movies, but it looks kind of like the Stormtrooper. But the difference, I'm going to put this nerd relic down here. The difference is the clone trooper in the lore.
What in the Comic-Con is going on right now, Michael? I like how he doesn't even have any clue about Star Wars or anything even.
Hey, neither do I.
Exactly. He doesn't know the difference between a fucking stormtrooper and a clone trooper.
Neither do I.
Well, tell them what it is, what the difference is. The clone trooper was cloned from Jango Fett by the Kaminoans to serve in the Clone Wars thanks to Sifo-Dyas, while stormtroopers are conscripted humans in the fight for the Empire.
That's so.
All descend from one person. It's clones of this guy Jango Fett, whose son Boba Fett is like a bounty hunter, or I don't know, whatever.
Why are you commenting on it, dude?
Hey, I don't...
By the way, Jango Fett now has a daughter in Omega.
Uh-oh, they might want to do sexual things with her then.
Trust me, AO3 has quite a few of them. At least for me, the only ones that I did, I have a thing where when Omega turns 18 in my stories, she changes her name to Arla, and so that serves as a hard difference. Only older, only post 18. Well, most of them want to do the 13 or younger Omega.
You think they care though?
Exactly the same.
No, they don't.
So how is it the case that in this new book, which is a canon book, it's not just fan fiction, it's a canon book, Star Wars: The Secrets of the Clone Troopers, it is revealed that there's this trans clone trooper.
So this trans character is not even a new character, having already appeared in 2022 in a novel in which she meets Anakin Skywalker, who condones like her being trans.
Yep.
Sister isn't the first trans Star Wars character. The universe, which features films, comic books, novels, and video games, has plenty of LGBTQ plus characters, with the first trans and non-binary Jedi introduced in 2021. Okay, so yeah, basically, long story short, this isn't even a new character. It's already been part of the lore for a couple years, and now it's just been reintroduced, and a bunch of conservatives are up in arms about it.
As always.
Michael Knowles is like trying to explain
just
all
wait
this
till turn 2 when they go
lore,
after Pokemon again.
The line of people changing
and then I'll get mad for once.
He's like, they're all
whereas I'm just sitting here eating
they
popcorn
were in this galaxy far,
and watching
far
you
away,
rage.
They all live in different planets.
I'm not even mad. I'm just a little mad at how stupid, how bad Michael Knowles is.
Don't you love when conservatives shit on our beloved stuff?
and then they all clone them, but
and reveal how little they know about it.
Hey, Knowles, maybe you should be like me. I don't pay attention to Star Wars, so I just mind my business.
Exactly. Well, it's mentioning a transgender character, so of course he can't.
Aliens, cool.
Because he wants to fuck them.
What the hell is going on?
Describes the trans clone this way. Quote, when one of our kind expressed her gender identity differently than her fellow troopers, she feared she'd have to hide who she truly was inside. Fortunately, her brothers in the 7th Sky Corps gave her the name Sister as a constant reminder that she belonged. Okay, so it's silly to inject this modern gender ideology in a galaxy far, far away, but Star Wars is just it's a myth.
It's silly to introduce this modern thing.
Big deal!
Why would you add this modern thing? And trans people aren't modern. Trans people have actually been around forever. So Star Wars, it doesn't matter because it actually has no relevance. It's not related to our understanding of time on Earth.
Aren't you guys the ones that are crying about like creative freedom and all that? What if they willingly do have a trans character in it? It's called freedom and capitalism, which you guys claim to love so much.
Tell us something not just about a distant past that may or may not have literally existed, but they tell us about our own times. That's what they're for. So, Professor Jacob,
does Michael Knowles know that Star Wars: A New Hope, at least A New Hope, probably the entire original trilogy, was inspired quite heavily by the Vietnam War?
You think they care? They probably.
He has knows nothing about Star Wars. Of course, he doesn't know about that.
You bringing that up would probably be like, we should have murdered every single Vietnamese.
That's probably what he thinks, because he's a Nazi, and he's not a grifter. Like he is genuinely a Nazi.
Because it's a galaxy.
Do we point out to him that Star Wars has been political since 1977? Yeah.
He probably didn't even know Star Wars was around that long either. And even I knew that.
They're literally saying his. They're literally misgendering a fictional fucking character. It's just
that's transphobic.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, Michael Knowles.
A fictional character for crying out too.
She is so desperate to just shit on Star Wars that it's embarrassing.
Tag on his helmet.
Just like we all know you want to shit on Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh soon.
So how do they have the
exactly yes
we have now? That's the least of it, guys. This is actually...
How do they still have metal to build the hovercrafts just like we have? Curious.
Isn't Star Wars like hundreds and thousands of years in the future? I'm sure metal is probably not sufficient enough for their ships, buddy.
They've got, yeah. Well, here's the thing, like, it's way in the future and way in the past at the same time.
Like, mixed between.
Right wing.
Yeah. That's right, because one of the first few movies or whatever, like a prequel or something.
Yep.
That is honestly, that's really weird how you do it. You do prequels first.
By
I know, but George Lucas did 4, 5, and 6 first, then he did 1, 2, and 3.
Is admitting that transgenderism is not biological. Star Wars is
admitting
that transgenderism is a social phenomenon.
We literally have been saying this for so long, you little weirdo.
This goes to show you how little he knows. Okay, if he knew anything about Star Wars, there's a better argument he could make. It's still wrong, and I can still easily rebut it, but there's a better argument he could make. He could say that the only way a clone can be trans is if it's defective. He could have then talked about how Sister wouldn't have existed if the Kaminoans knew that she was trans, as most defective clones were euthanized and recycled into materials for new clones. There are a few exceptions, but remember that the Kaminoans are mostly eugenicist demagogers who only believe in perfection.
You expect Knowles to actually think about stuff?
Oh, absolutely not.
Where?
Season 7. I mean, we're going to go to Season 7 of Star Wars Clone Wars. We meet Clone Force 99, the Bad Batch. They are defective, but their mutations are beneficial. Hunter has enhanced sensors and tracking abilities, and may or may not be slightly force sensitive. Wrecker has extreme strength. Tech is super intelligent. By the way, he's also autistic. And Crosshair has superior eyesight, and it's implied he can see in the infrared. Then, the Bad Batch show itself, one of my favourites, it first introduces us to Omega, a female clone who isn't age accelerated and was Nalase's lab assistant. She's about a year or two younger than Boba. Then, at the end of Season 2, we meet Emery Carr, who is basically an age accelerated Omega.
I think all that went all over Noel's head. He doesn't know what to think.
Of course.
Social phenomenon.
Of course.
So people,
because he has no idea what he's talking about.
He'll be like, that was too much to understand. Let's go make fun of Fatty's beloved monster trucks in NFL 2.
Corresponding with certain gendered expectations is also a result of that social phenomenon. Sometimes, however, that social phenomenon in regards to gender and presentation...
Again, guys, he's crying about a fictional character.
Deeper.
Ain't that sad?
Oh yeah, I've got something else to reveal at the end of this that I found even more hilarious.
Oh jeez, what did he say now?
That would be the technically...
Oh no, it's not him, but it's a group of right-wingers about their...
want to start having biological change. But the first step of being trans is always a social thing. It's always changing how you present, hoping people perceive you differently. It's always a social thing. So for him to get up here and be like, Star Wars is admitting that it's a social thing, yeah, we already know that.
It's a product of environment and a defect of the will, but it's not biological. If Star Wars had transed any other character in the entire universe, they would have been preserving...
Thank you, Empty. It's also been brought to my attention from chat as well that...
Wait, all of a sudden, Michael, you think they should change, trans a real character? Is that what you're trying to imply?
Yeah, remember, they have no consistency. They just don't want trans people to exist.
I mean,
they don't want LGBT people to exist. They don't want interracial couples to exist. They don't want minorities to exist. They just want cis, straight, Christian, white, conservative men and their naked, nude apron wives in the
But
kitchen.
that's Japanese stuff. They don't like Japanese either, remember?
No, that's probably the one thing they like about about Japan.
Or maybe the maid outfit, too.
What is the premise of...
And also, Michael, I'm pretty sure we both would agree about them trans in a current character, but this is a whole new character. Who gives a crap?
Exactly.
Get over it, Karen.
Star Wars shows and franchises and whatnot, the premise of Bad Batch. Okay, so there was a show already made with the Star Wars lore, about the Star Wars lore, called Bad Batch, and it goes into the details about how there are differences in the clones.
Pretty much all of the transgender ideology.
And we get to meet Omega and Emery, who are female clons. Now, I don't know, Omega could be trans or intersex. I actually heard canon she's intersex, meaning that internally, she's got her internal anatomy doesn't line up with female or male. Like, she's got bits of both.
That's too much info for those, though.
Of course, but externally she presents female.
Identical to all the other clone troopers.
Clone troopers have different personalities and whatnot.
Star Wars is asserting that transgenderism is not biological, is not natural, is not innate, that transgenderism is a social fad and a social...
Cloning millions of millions and millions of clones from the one template, you're going to get mutations. And what so happened with those mutations is that one of the characters came out transgender.
I see his cups as leftist tears, but all I see is conservative tears right now.
Exactly.
Social construct of gender.
Exactly.
Trans people will also exist. Second of all, for you to say it's not...
This reminds me of furry retard having a meltdown, yet you can have pronouns in Temtem, remember that?
Oh my god.
I remember making fun of him for that on my stream. I remember when I first played Temtem, I streamed, I made fun of him for that. That was so funny.
Good, decent, moral, appropriate, or anything.
Brought about by environmental factors.
I'm sure he'll probably cry about Pal World, too.
And I totally agree.
If he hasn't already.
As an
plus, he's mad he can't make a good team.
Deeply involved in politics in the future, and as someone who is currently writing a book about politics and about how the radical left have destroyed this country.
All right, we can pause here because I want to reveal something.
The radical left, of course.
Yep. So I remember this comment that kind of would indicate that Star Wars, by their logic, has been woke since 1977. Do you want to know why? So here's the tweet. Crystal Foster. My 5-year-old daughter picked up these shoes, which are Darth Vader shoes. And a boy at school said Star Wars is for boys. She said Star Wars is for girls too. What do you think at Mark Hamill? So this is Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker in response. I think Luke and Han are lucky Leia took over their rescue on the Death Star, or it would have been a very short movie.
That kind of reminds me of the reverse for me. Growing up in school, people made fun of me for being like a Powerpuff Girls fan. Oh my goodness, just remembering that.
Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about regarding the not Star Wars fans who are being like, Star Wars is getting political. Star Wars has always been political.
The quivering?
Shit. Yep. The quivering. Yep, the quivering.
I was actually expecting like an interracial kiss scene like in Star Trek that people had meltdown about.
Yep, I remember that.
Traditional.
So here's the thing. These guys don't watch Star Wars. They don't take any time to understand the stories and lore of Star Wars. Michael knows had to be told the difference between stormtroopers and clone troopers by another person because he knows so little. And yet he rants about Star Wars being woke because there is a transgender clone. As I just demonstrated with that tweet. Guess what? It's been woke since 1977.
Maybe someone should tell him to be like me then.
Yeah, they should, but they won't because they're idiots
and they're Karens.
Michael Knowles this desperate voicemail. What the hell?
And they have a kink for trans.
Exactly. How do you
yes, they do. It's what? I know Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes both had hardcore transporn for Alex Jones and
wait, it wasn't involving frogs?
And since I know you have a lot of
No, it wasn't for once, which was a surprise. Oh, and then there's this horrible moment from Knowles.
Oh, jeez. No, Jones was too busy looking at frogs in Minecraft, as we know. He was too busy trying to make lights.
About politics, I wanted to ask you that. Okay, thank you, Michael. Thank you for all that you do in saving this country from the radical left. Thank you.
Very kind.
Destroying this country because of his fear of the radical left and the Jews.
Ambitious and serious. So that's all good
and
stuff.
His kink obsession with trans.
I would say probably the opposite of that, but okay.
How about you mind your business if you don't like Star Wars like I do?
So that's all good stuff.
Exactly.
I don't hate it like you do. I just don't pay attention.
Eventually you can write a book. You should not write a book at 14. No 14-year-old should write a book.
Okay! We can't write books when we're 14. I'm sure you, just like me, wrote Pokemon fan fictions and stuff when we were 14.
Yep, I did.
Man, I guess he won't like our fan fictions of Pokemon now. I guess he wouldn't
Don't worry, I've got other things. I've got you should see the fan fiction that some of the fan fiction I've written on, because one of the, mostly Pokemon artists I know, I'm a patron of, and I've gotten permission to write fan fiction for.
I guess he wouldn't like the manga I'm making, even though one of the characters is actually a pretty hardcore Christian, who's actually progressive, though. Ain't that a surprise? Christian in Japan. Oh, you're going to be mad about that.
That'll make his head explode.
And she acts like a hardcore trad-con waifu, but is progressive. Oof.
Okay.
The reason for that is...
And to make you mad, I already finished the first 3 chapters almost, Knowles. So wait till it's all done. Volume 1 will be online.
Poor 14-year-old just reached out to Michael Knowles. He's like, I'm writing a book. I'm so excited. I'm almost done. I've literally dedicated years of my life.
But yeah, guys, if you're 14 under, you can't write fiction. Sorry. I guess we must be punished to death for doing that.
Michael Knowles just, listen, kid, you're too young and stupid to be able to write a book right now, okay?
He probably no Hunter. Knowles is one of the countries in Vicky 2. He's one of the countries that their population has literally 1% literacy, and he's in the 99%. And I'm not kidding. There are countries in the game that have 1% literacy.
You have not read books to write a book. You have not lived enough life to have the experiences that are helpful in writing a book.
Really?
Your brain.
I'm going to be 31 next Wednesday. I don't have any history or experience in writing stuff. Okay, then. What about you?
Brain has not developed to the point that you are at your prime powers to write a book, and you probably don't have a sufficient command of grammar and syntax and English composition.
No, I write manga. How about that? Simple words.
I write stuff as well.
Fantasy novel when he was just 15 years old. Alexander Pope was a child genius, 12 years old when he wrote his first major piece entitled Ode on Solitude. So again, like, everybody has to start somewhere. So I don't know why Michael Knowles would just like crap all over this poor kid's goal.
No 14-year-old does. I think even of John Stuart
I beg to
Mill,
differ on that one,
I
pal.
think he spoke Latin by 3, Greek by 5. You know, this is one of the last really.
I think you're just jealous that we make good Pokemon fan fiction since we were 14. How about that one?
Yep. He had a glaring omission in his.
Remember that one I showed you years ago?
He never learned
yes, I remember that.
I need to get back.
Don't worry, I'm thinking of doing a version of it myself as well.
I wonder what Knowles would feel if he was the MC's sister going through that one girl's bag and find a roll of condoms. Remember that scene?
Yes, remember that.
At 14. So what could you do?
What's to say the kid can't write a book?
You should read a lot.
He does. Hunter, that's who.
that are challenging. That are
He's the
books
ultimate
that
authority,
maybe an
remember?
18-year-old or a 22-year-old should read.
Yep.
He's an
If
EU
precocious,
form
you
of
should read
maximum absolutism.
just off the top of my head, the closing.
And he'll
And
execute you to get more absolutism.
Yep.
Destroys the dreams of a 14-year-old and shits on Star Wars, even though he has absolutely no understanding of anything regarding Star Wars, just because
Exactly.
people.
I bet he'll shit on Pokemon Jewel, which I made back when I was 16 when I first made all the Pokemon for it.
trans people back.
Yep. He probably would.
Guess he'll be jealous when the game comes out
If you
soon,
want to
eventually in
support
the world. So yeah.
Good for him.
So yeah, as a fan of Star Wars, what do you guys say about the conservatives coping and Stephen Malden again over nothing?
Absolutely laughable. Absolutely laughable.
So what do you guys say about them being Karens over nothing, as always?
No surprise.
Mind your business, like I do.
Exactly.
Enjoy stuff we
Exactly.
like. We'll enjoy stuff we like. And don't you fuck with my NFL, my monster trucks, my Pokemon, my Yu-Gi-Oh, and whatever. Or you're going to have to face my wrath, and I'm not going to be nice about it.
Oh, they will. Don't worry.
Yeah, they can't wait to go after Pokemon again. It's always been that way.
Yep.
Gotta call it satanic and the devil's work again, like always. Alright,
Yep,
so
as they
now,
always
on
do.
to the next topic.
Steam forced to admit that they own the games and not you.
Which should
And that
be
you don't buy the games, you rent them.
which is horseshit. You should be able to own them.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Yep.
Steam forced, I think it was in a California lawsuit, because I watched this video from Yong Ye a little bit the other day. So, yeah, Steam finally admitted that you don't actually own your games on Steam, which is bullshit. Oh, this
Yeah.
actually might be referenced, because I wanted to bring this up a long time ago, but never brought up. Do you remember The Crew 2?
I've heard about it, yeah?
Did you hear what happened, the scandal recently?
No?
They shut down the game, and they fucked over people who bought it, and they couldn't play it.
Oh, wow.
Of course, that's what happens when crap like this is allowed to happen. I think it was actually a big lawsuit about it, and this actually might be part of the reason why. So let's see what Yong Ye has to say.
So about 2 weeks ago, I released a video discussing a new law that was recently passed in California that tries to tackle issues surrounding digital ownership and the way companies
and needs to change. When you buy stuff on Steam, you own it. End discussion. And likewise, you should be able to sell digital goods. If I want to sell a game to you, I should be able to. End of discussion.
are selling you these
Exactly.
products as if you are buying and purchasing them, which suggests a permanent semblance of ownership, or at the very least, a permanent semblance of access. But we all know, or people who follow gaming and who follow how digital products actually work, we know that we're ultimately just licensing them. It's just long-term renting before, I don't know, licenses expire or before services shut down.
Like
at
The
which
Crew
point
2.
those digital products can be stripped from us. It can be
Which is
taken
crap.
away without questions asked, without
Exactly.
refunds.
Speaking
And that
of
is
which-
just a future that many of us don't particularly are all about. And so this new law begins to tackle those issues, but at the very least,
Also, it's anti-video game preservation, which is very important. But of course, they don't
Of
care about
course,
that.
yep.
starting to force
Yeah.
companies to disclose that you are not actually buying and owning the digital purchases you make. So right here, The Verge reported California's new law forces digital stores to admit you're just licensing content, not buying it. The law comes into effect next year. It's actually been passed, and it's meant to combat disappearing purchases of digital games, movies, music, and ebooks.
Yeah, I think we even talked about that months ago. The PlayStation Store, where they would
Yep.
remove games and stuff that you bought and all that.
So storefronts can
I
no
remember
longer
that.
have terminologies like buy or purchase when you click the button to buy a digital product, unless they inform customers that they're not getting unrestricted access to whatever they're buying. Storefronts will have to tell customers they're getting a license that can be revoked, and companies who break that rule could be fined for false advertising. And all this came about because of all of the online discussions following the disappearance of games like The Crew, which is not only disappearing from storefronts, but being fully deleted from players' libraries,
Oh, wait.
reminding us we own nothing as
Oh,
gadgets
it wasn't The Crew 2. It was The Crew got the wrong game.
as you're aptly so,
Ah.
which kickstarted the whole Stop
If we
Killing
wanna get the
Games
damn link.
movement, which has gained quite a bit of traction with hundreds of thousands of signatures for the petitions and the like. There's also Sony, who recently tried to delete media from players' libraries, specifically.
Yeah, that's what we talked about months ago.
The Discovery content. They eventually had to pull back on that when on December 21st, 2023, they announced that the content removal plan is no longer occurring. Apparently, they found a way to update licensing arrangements, but the fact that the possibility was there is already kind of not great. And also, once upon a time, Sony did at one point successfully remove media from users' libraries when back in 2022, the PlayStation Store removed purchased movies from libraries after service shutdown, with this particular instance affecting regions like Germany and Austria. Let's not forget the shutdown of Funimation after Crunchyroll absorbed it. Crunchyroll
I actually heard about this recently.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
Didn't even know about this, that Funimation was bought out by Crunchyroll and shut down all that. But yeah, when they did that, when they folded the accounts between the two into one, it fucked over people, so they lost all the anime they got and all the manga they bought and everything. Stupid.
Everyone's purchased copies of Funimation.
Maybe that's
content.
why you shouldn't do shit
so
like that.
Situations
How
that
about that
highlight
one?
how unprotected consumers are from companies being able to swoop into your digital library and just kind of take whatever they want without your consent, even if you've shelled out money for this. To the point where the notion of piracy is starting to feel morally correct, because as this individual said, if paying isn't owning, piracy isn't stealing, which garnered millions of views and hundreds of thousands of likes. And the good news is that this law...
You encourage me sailing the seven seas, like in One Piece.
On certain storefronts, like, say,
you
Steam.
encourage us sailing the seven seas, trying to sink ships going through the straits. The strait that leads to Israel.
I bet they would love this. I bet they wouldn't be happy if Luffy saw them.
A lot of people really like the Steam ecosystem and all of the features that it offers, but make no mistake, all the Steam purchases that you've made are fully digital, and you do not own the vast majority of those games. There might be like a specific few that intentionally make it DRM free and the like, but in general, if there are licensing issues for certain games that you bought that force companies to have to remove it from your library, they absolutely can. If there are issues like Steam going down, its servers shutting down, if the service were to end, your entire library can absolutely disappear. Maybe this is...
Although they say that if Steam ever did went down, they would make a change quickly to allow you to keep them, whatever. That's what they say. Whether that's true or not, no idea, since hopefully Steam won't ever decline, but that's what they say.
It's an extreme scenario, but it's also not entirely impossible, and so you have to plan for a potential future where all of your digital purchases may go away for one reason or another. We have seen such instances crop up myriad times, whether it's singular titles or entire libraries of content from specific companies, and so who's to say it won't happen to your PC games on Steam? And Steam being kind of the go-to storefront for PC gaming, you can imagine why it's important to begin tackling these issues now, so that in the future we can have some semblance of safety, hopefully with laws catching up, allowing these protections to force companies to not be able to just take content away from us, to allow us to at the very least download stuff and keep them before they go away, before they're delisted and the like. So right here we have a report from Engadget who first noticed this. The headline of this article reads, Steam now tells gamers upfront that they're buying a license, not a game. So if you...
I've gotten stuff recently since I saw this video, and I have not seen this notification yet, so no idea.
Scroll down, you'll find something that this editor noticed, where when you open your shopping cart with items inside and before going to pay...
Crashed on me.
Oh, don't you love Discord crash on you? Hey, I see Young A has TCG Card Shop Simulator in his recommendations. Let's go, that game's awesome.
A notice at the bottom right states, a purchase of a digital product grants a license for the product on Steam. Now, I think
it says in a different area. I wonder if it says that... I might have to check that later, because I don't remember seeing it in that
step
slot
further and say you
A.
do not own this game when you buy it. This feels like the lightest way to tell someone that they're actually renting something for a long-term period of time that's
which is
indeterminate, that they don't actually own the purchase that they're about to make. This notice was not there before, and this was definitely Steam reacting to the passage of the California law that forces companies to outright say.
Oh yeah, by the way, you don't buy anything now.
Yeah.
We can even theoretically pull all the water out of your body and kill you if we want.
That you're just licensing something. So right here you can see a purchase of a digital product grants a license for the product on Steam. But it doesn't, it says you don't own the game you're about to buy without really saying you don't own the game you're about to buy. So I feel like a more direct disclosure would be better. The language of this feels like the least transparent version of what it's actually saying, so that they don't actually have to say the thing blatantly in a way that might scare away customers, is what it feels like. But this does goes to show that we are making some strides on this front. We are taking steps in the right direction. Laws, I think, need to forbid companies from taking stuff from players' digital libraries altogether, and they need to force companies to make it so that they aren't allowed to just make a digital product disappear from the face of the planet. Not only is that detrimental to those who have shelled out money for that product, but in terms of preservation of gaming history and history of digital content, that's just a really shitty thing. And you can see right here the amount of traction that this news has gained, because it feels like something's actually finally starting to be done about this issue. So Discussing Film tweeted about how Steam has now added a warning to customers that they're only buying a license for a game and don't actually own it. This is ahead of a new law that forbids digital storefronts selling games from using terms like buy unless they tell players that they're only buying a license. You can see 19.1 million views and hundreds of thousands of likes as of the recording of this video, and plenty of folks alarmed about this. And
okay, I looked at where I tried to get something, and it does say where Young Yesay was. I was
found it, yep.
Because when I did the other day when I saw this video, I was looking at a whole different spot. But now I saw where he saw it.
Highlighting how physical media is superior as a result. But even physical media is just glorified digital media nowadays, where you still need to install the game or download stuff that basically makes it reliant on some kind of digital download that may go away,
and
or there's still DRM
because
elements
they make games broken on
so
now.
That if
and that's stupid.
Because the game they've been ordered to make the games broken all games broken from now on. They got to make every dollar they can.
Just wait till when Pokemon Jewel comes out, when it's not gonna be broken at all when it comes out. How about that one? Because I actually care about that, unlike you can't.
The next game, you're not even going to be able to open the box, because the box can't be opened because the box has got a problem.
And then wait, after I'm done Jewel, I potentially make 2 games I had planned. They're not going to be broken either when they come out. How about that one? Yep. And no DLCs either, because I'm not a greedy cunt like you all are.
And the ability to maintain the game would disappear. The physical media would still not save the game,
a game
or
coming out
would not
and done
protect
like
you
that.
from potentially having the product being made inaccessible. So even physical media is a little shaky on that front, depending on the product. Other users highlighting here, I want a full refund on all the games I purchased where this disclaimer was not shown to me. And then here is one of the more popular comments here with almost 60,000 likes. If buying isn't owning, then pirating isn't stealing.
He ain't wrong!
Phrase that's getting more and more traction as the truth is spread about what a lot of us have known for a while, but the masses may not necessarily put 2 and 2 together. That digital
Sail
product,
the ocean with
you
Luffy.
Just don't have any ownership or semblance of security of accessing it on a permanent basis over. And so the fact that we're starting to get these kinds of disclosures to really ensure that all customers are informed about what they're actually spending their money on and what that actually grants you in terms of access, and the fact that this is more of a long-term renting kind of situation rather than you actually buying something you get to keep forever, is, I think, a positive thing. Hopefully the masses will be more informed about just how shitty digital quote-unquote ownership or digital purchases are, so that when these discussions crop up, they can gain more traction as the masses express, hopefully, their concerns about how we are headed towards a more digital future, and in turn, we're headed towards a future where the media that we buy is no longer really guaranteed to be permanent or within our control to be accessible and permanent, which makes digital ownership a far less ideal form of media consumption than what it used to be before, where you'd buy a VHS, a DVD, a Blu-ray, you name it, and you'd feel like this is something that as long as I take care of it and as long as I have it, it's mine and I can access it forever and I can harken back to it whenever. Slowly but surely, we are 100% losing that, and not even beloved platforms like Steam can be excused on this front. Now, one platform that has been able to take advantage of this to take some free shots is none other than GOG. And frankly, they have every right to take these shots because it's true. When you download a game from GOG digitally, as long as you protect that installer file, you can do whatever you want with it. You can install the game whenever, whether you have online access or not. You can copy and paste it. You can distribute. You can do what it feels like actual digital ownership, which is why when IGN reported on this new law that will force storefronts to admit that you don't actually own your digital purchases, GOG was cheeky and retweeted this and responded with, if only there was a storefront that actually lets you own your games, ... So you can see this gathered a lot of traction, a lot of positivity, 2 million views, tens of thousands of likes. Now, some people were quick to point out that if you look at GOG's end license user agreement, you'll find the section titled Ownership of GOG Services and Intellectual Property Rights. It does say here that GOG content is owned by its developers/publishers and licensed by us. But because of the way GOG works, because it is DRM free, and because you get to download installers that are isolated from any sort of DRM or online protection, any sort of verification requirements, it's as good as ownership. You know what I mean? Legally speaking, you are still licensing the thing, but by the nature of how GOG works and the way you download installers from their storefront, you might as well own the thing. You can do what you want with it, and it literally cannot be taken away from you as soon as the installer is downloaded and saved within some kind of storage device. GOG was quick to make this clarification by responding to their own tweet and saying, we've seen some discussions regarding this tweet, so let us clarify. When we said we let you own your games, we meant that no matter what happens, whether it's licensing issues, storefronts shutting down, or even the zombie apocalypse cutting off your internet, you'll still be able to play them thanks to our offline installers. We want to ensure your gaming legacy is always in your hands, not ours. My opinion is that laws eventually need to get to a point where it forces all digital storefronts to enact this particular model where you are allowed to download and permanently digitally keep the file without it being dependent on some kind of verification or check or DRM or whatever. If we get to that point where all stores are basically like GOG in terms of how you download,
why it isn't, I don't know. Well, we know why. It's because it's money, money, money. All about the money, money,
money. Corporations and video game developers that need to be taken down a notch.
Dollars that are then freely accessible forever as long as that file is maintained. I think that's the ideal future of digital ownership or digital purchases, digital storefronts. Hopefully GOG gains tons of success from this so that the message is sent that this is the model that people actually desire. GOG has every right to take shots here because, they've been on the right side of history with this one and the way things work with how their storefront allows you permanent access to those digital purchases if those files are protected. GOG then took it a step further by adding their own notice when you are purchasing games, when you add them to your cart. On Steam, you'll see a message that is not ideal, that a purchase of a digital product grants a license for the product on Steam. It does not grant ownership or a semblance of permanent access. Whereas GOG is able to fully guarantee that a purchase of a digital product on GOG grants you its offline installers, which cannot be taken away from you, which you have full autonomy over. So it doesn't say that you own the products because that's, in terms of legal terms, incorrect, but you basically own the product. You know what I mean? You actually are able to access it forever as long as the integrity of that installer you download is maintained for as long as you want to maintain
like all
it
the
for.
games
Current
on my
laws
desk
of
at the
forcing
moment.
companies to disclose that you don't actually own your digital purchases is a good thing, and it's a good first step. It doesn't change the fact that ultimately all we have done right now is to force companies to disclose that they're doing something morally questionable rather than tackling the morally questionable practice itself. What GOG has done here is go for the morally correct option from the outset, whereas other digital storefronts have decided to take advantage of laws not being able to stop them from essentially having full autonomy over your digital library. And the hope is that as this issue becomes more widespread, as awareness spreads, because disclosures are being forced upon by laws, the hope is that the awareness continues, and so the issue continues to be tackled until the hopeful eventuality that we get to here where all storefronts will allow you to have access to offline installers that cannot be taken away from you. Hopefully this will become the norm and not the exception. But I suppose only time will tell how the future will pan out and what it holds for us. But in the meantime, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions.
Right, so, yeah, what do you guys say about Young Ye's video? And what do you guys say about that, people? Steam finally admitting you don't own the games. I guess it's good. I guess it's good enough in terms of transparency, but it doesn't fix the reality like Young Ye says. When we buy stuff digitally, it should be ours. End discussion. And if I want to, and if we want to sell our stuff to others, we should be able to. And you can go fuck off if you don't like hearing that. How about that one? Just like with physical goods, and also physical over digital anytime. How about that one? As we all know, because you can't fuck us over in that regard as easily. So yeah,
that won't stop them from trying by by breaking into your house and stealing them. The physical copies.
All right. So now on to the next topic.
And that is number 3 is North Korea declares war on Ukraine.
So of course it's been talked about for months, guys. It's officially been confirmed. North Korea has troops involved in the Russo-Ukrainian War, right on the front lines. Now, of course, it's been talked about because at first there was speculation of what is. Maybe it's advisors, which they actually do for some of their weapons. Iran does too. Hell, us in the West also have advisors in Ukraine how to use the weapons and stuff like that. Nothing out of the ordinary. But no, this is not this. This is actual troops in Ukraine right now fighting on the front line. So North Korea is actively involved in the Russo-Ukrainian War. Now, how many troops is it? From what I've heard, it's 10,000. Now, that really is not going to probably make any difference whatsoever and such. So, will this be oh my god, Ukraine's going to get destroyed all like that? No, it really will not make any difference. In the end, they're going to get destroyed just like Russia's getting destroyed. But still isn't a good thing that another country's getting involved in all that.
Yeah.
And of course, they're actively helping Russia with weapons and all that. Thank you. Just like with Iran and such. And China.
Remember that all the countries, North Korea, China, Iran, India, Armenia, Hungary, Belarus, and Kazakhstan.
And mercenaries in Africa too. All of you can go fuck yourselves and such.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's not good and all that. But we also gotta admit, North Korea's troops, they're gonna be terrible, like Russia's, and their tech is terrible too. All their weapons are dog shit. They're not gonna destroy anything Western and all that and such. So, what do you guys say about this?
I think I find it interesting.
Definitely not really good though. But hey, you know what will do though?
Yeah.
It definitely pissed off South Korea. They might actually finally hopefully give weapons to Ukraine now because of this. I hope you enjoyed stepping on South Korea, Russia, and North Korea, because you just stuck your hand in a hornet's nest in that regard, because they will fuck you up, because South Korea's weapons are actually good, unlike your guys' shit and such.
Exactly.
And also, have you noticed the last 2 weeks or whatever, there's been tensions with both Koreas recently, North Korea and South Korea.
Yes, sending literal shit over to South Korea.
If you really were going to start a war with South Korea, which you would lose, why would you be sending troops in Ukraine? You're going to probably need them on your front lines, which is more important to you than what happens in Ukraine.
Yep.
So, very odd and unfortunate and all that. But hey, don't think it's going to change anything. So, just have more North Koreans dead along with Russians and other groups. Maybe you shouldn't Maybe you shouldn't go into Ukraine. How about that one for a smart?
Yeah. How about you shouldn't have invaded? Invaded Putin
and
Lukashenko.
And then tankies will be raging mad.
Of course they are, because they're mad about everything. They're as bad as the fucking right wingers.
Yep.
Mostly because once you get above a certain point in the authoritarian scale, left and right is just meaningless, because the authoritarianism just overwhelms everything.
Yep. So get bent. How about that one?
Yep.
Get bent on Vicky too, which you will if you go against me. Undefeated in 1v1 wars. Gotta keep that streak going.
Nice.
Why all the servers I was on banned whatever countries I could play because I was too good on them? So, with that out of the way, I guess.
Just ban you.
Alright, so I guess with that out of the way, on to the next topic.
Obama goes full Warden on Trump.
Uh-oh, Trump, did you go into the ancient city like I did last night in my one world?
He did, apparently.
Careful, Obama the Warden is going to sniff you out and one-shot you, and you're too stupid to know how to fight it or get away from him. So yeah, there was actually another video Obama did recently that Kyle covered, but this was the very first one, and I actually saw the whole thing, and man was it awesome. Obama obliterated, and continued to pound Trump into oblivion as he cries for mercy as he got destroyed. So, let's see.
As he took 500 million damage, Obama being a shuffle.
Oh, yeah, that's right. How about that, Trump? You are the Blitzy for once.
Yep.
All that HP for nothing. All that bloat. All that bloat for nothing.
So Barack Obama gave a rally speech in Pittsburgh campaigning for Kamala Harris, and he went in-ski on Trump. So I have a bunch of clips to show you here.
Just like we can't wait for walls to destroy elongated Musgrave next.
In Pennsylvania and across the country are struggling to pay the bills.
Hey, Obama, remember you 8 years ago? I do.
Finally slow. Yeah. The price of everything from health
still neo-lib, which is not based.
And that takes a real bite out of paychecks. It hurts.
But there is one thing we can't deny as people who don't like Obama. He is like the most charismatic person probably ever present in a long time. He will destroy you charismatically.
Who's really going to do something about it? That's what you should be thinking.
And right now, that's probably a major asset for Democrats.
Asking yourself.
Yes.
Now, Donald Trump's plan is to do what he did last time, which was give another massive tax cut to billionaires and big corporations. And then, don't boo, I'm going to break you of this habit. And the reason some people think, well, I don't know, I remember that economy when he first came in being pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good, because it was my economy.
Thank you, Obama, for pointing it out, because a lot of people, remember when Trump became president, people act like, oh, Trump did all this shit. No. It was all Obama's work.
It was inherited Obama's policy.
And then at the end, it was Trump's economy. Dog shit. And Biden had to fix it all, being a brain-dead retard that he was. How about that one?
Exactly.
Because the orangutan
we had
was a
75
moron.
Straight months of job growth that I handed over to him.
I've never heard him say that one before. A little bit of peacock in here from Obama. A little bit of
which is good.
Bitch, give me my flowers on the economy.
Like pillagers after a raid.
I forget the exact number, but there's this fact about private sector job growth under Democratic versus Republican administration.
Obama, are you a Vex? Which triggers you?
It's like 20 to 1.
He absolutely would be.
Job creation.
Are you a Ravager going after me in the water like that one time?
For private sector job growth.
Yeah, you cry about Vexes. I had to fight 4 Ravagers, remember?
We've been fed, and the thing that everybody
you fight 4 of them in the water.
Belief. When you actually look at the scoreboard, under Democrats, there's massive private sector growth, and under most Republicans in the modern era, there was either marginal gains or actual losses. So
maybe Dems know how to actually run the economy better than Republicans, unlike what Americans usually think, because they're stupid.
There's a new line from him. I never heard this line before.
It wasn't something he did. I spent 8 years cleaning up the mess that the Republicans had left me the last time.
That's a good line, because Obama's not doing the thing here that all of the Democrats do today, where they act like,
Democrats, maybe you should be like Obama right now. How about that one?
And get away from these
It was also mentioned that Obama would have beaten Trump,
which Kyle will get to
if he was ever run again.
I had a huge issue with that because it whitewashes the older Republicans. It makes it seem like Bush and Cheney or Reagan, going further back, or HW, like they were actually responsible, good presidents. And it's not true, right? And so here, Obama is reminding people, hey, under George W. Bush and Dick Cheney, they did 2 illegal wars and tanked the economy, and then I had to come in and clean up the mess of the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession. And so this is a much more clear-cut, easy-to-understand case than
but he's a Kenyan, so who cares, remember?
From Democrats today, where they make it seem like as long as
just like
your name
Kamala
isn't
is, remember?
Donald Trump or you're not a MAGA Republican, then you're one of the good Republicans. And this is Obama saying, no, I had to clean up the mess of the Republican administration before me.
So just in case everybody has a hazy memory.
I sure don't, because I have to remind people all the time.
He didn't do nothing.
Exactly.
Except those
I grew up during the Bush years.
This is good.
I'm glad I was a kid most of the time, though, but it still sucked.
What does he do? Cut taxes for billionaires and big corporations. That's what the Republicans do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Trump did. The idea that he's different is not true. He's not the working class president like he sometimes virtue signals and pretends to be.
He writes his signatures
and he's bringing
in his
up the
crap.
record to prove that point.
His other big economic plan now is to slap tariffs on everything, from food to TVs. Now, understand what tariffs are. Anything that's coming from out that's made.
And of course, now he's going to go neo-lib, unfortunately. Now,
money on top of it.
Tariffs are based. It's just Trump is the idiot in the way he's doing it.
It makes sense because you want to have a playing field. But what he's proposing is basically a Trump sales tax that could cost the average family almost $4,000 a year. So if you're concerned about higher prices, that is not the way to get lower prices. That's going to come out of your pockets.
Again, it's so good. He knows how to do this, bro. He knows how to do this.
What I'd say about tariffs is that if they work, if done correctly on things that we can make at home, so that they're competitive, so we can actually compete against those doing slavery.
Well, you remember what Trump's reason why he's doing it, right? He wants to use it as like tax revenue and all that. Remember?
Yep, I remember that.
Guess what, Trump? Guess what? It's not the 1800s anymore. Tariffs are what your policy is not going to make enough money to accumulate for tax revenue, and that's not the point of tariffs. Close. That's not the point of tariffs. Mm-hmm. It's to protect industry. Discourage imports, encourage exports, encourage domestic production.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be for.
Yep.
And if you're smart, you're supposed to... Because here's the thing. He wants to do it flat on everything. He doesn't care about, like, the industry. He doesn't even care about the individual countries. Because we trade with countries all around the world. And some cases, depending on the country, depending on the good, tariffs need to go up. Tariffs could be the same or maybe go down. You have to go by each individual thing instead of just flat everywhere. See, that's what happens when you're an idiot and actually not protectionist, unlike... us and Kyle. Let's go.
Yeah,
he even gestures
and
there.
Voss will be mad too.
Yes, because he's just a neoliberal CIA agent
who openly admits he wants all jobs outsourced.
He wants he doesn't want any jobs in America.
Oh, that reminds me. The other day I was watching one of his videos recently. Someone asked him, do you think America would have been better off if Trump won in 2020 and we would take him out now? He actually admitted, yeah, he probably was. And I have the actual video clip of it too if you want to see it later. So people can't deny it.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah, you put it...
Hey, I mean, that's what I said for years now. If Trump won 2020, we would be destroying him right now. The Democrats would have won everything in 2022, and he would be gone in a few months. Instead of have the potential to get him again.
Tariff on that foreign-made product.
Gee, maybe that's why you all should have voted for Bernie in 2016 like I did. How about that? We wouldn't have Trump deal with because he would have been crushed.
And you can get
Trump, if Robbie don't know, Trump did think he was going to lose in 2016 to Hillary. So if he lost, he wouldn't probably have been a raging maniac he is now.
Same quality or better quality at a lower price because the tariff on the foreign good is going to make the foreign good more expensive, right? So in some contexts, yes, tariffs make sense. But Trump's idea is an across-the-board tariff, which is absolutely preposterous.
He doesn't think, because he's stupid.
Because there's some things...
And he's in early stages of cognitive decline.
Basically,
early stages, he already was, remember?
Prices
like Biden.
Why would you...
Oh my God. Not only that, he might even be stupider now than Biden over the last 2 months. That's insane. He's the actual brain dead one for once, which we all told you back in June when they had their debate, but you all kept dismissing it.
That makes no sense.
You think prices are high now? Donald Trump's message basically is, you ain't seen nothing yet. All right, so that's as far as you can tell, that's his plan, right? Because it's not written down anywhere. When it comes to health care, you heard it in the debate. Donald Trump's got one answer,
I have concepts of a plan.
That 45 million people were
I have concepts of a plan, but I'm not going to do anything else.
Yeah, because people steal my ideas. Which, by the way, remember he said that before about some issue. I can't remember what it was. That he had a plan he didn't want to reveal because he didn't want people to steal his ideas. Oh, shut up. You were president for 4 years, and you couldn't even do what you want, which had like a 10% approval rate and all that. You don't have a plan.
Yep.
You just want people to die and make healthcare industry help me.
The other day, his running mate.
And insurance lobby and all
even
that.
richer. Yep.
You gotta vote.
Maybe you need to make us Americans jealous about your health care again. You want to flex in front of us.
His running mate had the nerve to say Donald Trump salvaged the Affordable Care Act.
You know what? Obama actually is right. Because he pissed off McCain so much he made McCain vote against it.
Yes.
Fuck you. So Trump, you actually saved Obamacare, honestly. So thank you for being an idiot.
Yep.
Hey, just like you didn't get your immigration bill back in March, remember, because of your stupid fucking mouth.
Yes.
Because you're an idiot.
Donald Trump spent his entire presidency trying to tear it down.
And be
And by
racist
the way, he
towards
couldn't
you.
even do that right.
Yes, then scream the end slur every. This fucking end slur policy, I want to throw it out.
He still thinks Obama is born in Kenya, for crying out loud, people.
He was elected when he was asked about.
By the way, that's Hillary Clinton's fake news.
Back in 2008, because I remember having to bring that up with Bernie all the time.
Yep. He says he's got concepts of a plan for how he'd replace it. Now, I want you all to think about this for a second.
You've been running for almost 2 years, you orangutan. You should already have a plan already told, but you can't because you're an idiot.
And Friday comes around and
you're too busy raging on Minecraft with the other presidents. Ever seen presidents play?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Obama, Biden, and Trump playing Minecraft together, and they trash talk each other. It's hilarious.
He said, well,
I
actually haven't started, but I have a concept of a plan. Or you could try it at home. Honey, did you do the dishes? I have a concept of a plan to do the dishes. How's that going to go over? If it wouldn't work for you, why in the heck should it work for the President of the United States?
Oh, yeah? Well, you're not American. How about that one?
At this than other Democrats are.
Also, you're an insular. That's what they'd reply.
Charismatic and a good speaker, and he knows how to make a case. And that's what you're witnessing right here. And by the way,
Obama is such a good charismatic figure, it can override his being a neoliberal turd. That's insane.
Yeah. A spade, too. His 2008 campaign.
Something maybe Hillary should have had instead of being a smug cunt.
Yeah.
And then
instead of being remember that Hillary Clinton only became a Democrat because her husband became president as a Democrat. Otherwise, she would have been a Republican.
I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think
maybe you should have ran as a Republican, Hillary. You'd fit right in.
The Electoral College against Mitt Romney than he did in 2008 against John McCain. But I think his 2012 campaign was actually better. He was more aggressive. He was more populist in his messaging. And here we are in campaign season, and
I know firsthand experience because he was the first president I ever voted for because I still believed him back then.
He got the memo. He knows how to do this. He knows the path.
Democrats start listening to Obama in this regard because he knows what he's doing.
They're doing this.
How hard is it to get charisma?
Messaging coming from Kamala at the moment. You see more
he needs to be into your head.
2016 style messaging and really overemphasizing bipartisanship and here's an event
which unfortunately Kamala's been doing a lot now last like month.
Making the same mistakes that Hillary is making.
Committee that I'm going to set up to help vet my ideas. And look, I got to think that as Obama sees this,
all I can say is, Kamala, you better be thinking. Your lucky star
case.
Trump is even worse off than in 2016 because that's like your saving grace.
Let's keep going.
So, if you're a new parent,
but if you lose, it will be your fault for doing that.
Tax credit during the first year.
And it'll be Vorsh's fault for being retarded as well. For being a CIA agent.
And she wants to make it easier to afford stuff like a crib or a car seat.
But conservatives don't like kids, remember?
I remember.
Oh no, they do like
remember the
kids.
first
They
time
like
I went
kids
to
in
the
the
store.
evil way. Remember?
Right after Malia was born, I was like, what? That's how much diapers cost? I remember changing diapers. You think Donald Trump ever changed a diaper?
I think he bragged about having never changed a diaper, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So somebody in the audience screamed when he asked, "You think Trump's ever changed a diaper?" Somebody in the audience screamed, "His own!" And then now Obama's
No, he
gonna
can't
do
even
it.
change his own because he's too stupid.
I almost said that, but I decided I shouldn't say it.
Oh, Mama, you should have said that
Is
was so
Obama
base.
up on the whole incontinence gate thing? Is he
Kyle, it's
in
not
on
even
that?
a gate.
Has he seen
Everyone knows
the
Trump is
secular
brain
talk
dead.
video where I do a deep
Yeah.
dive on all of the
We all
evidence
knew he was
that's out
brain
there
dead since
that Donald
2015.
Trump
He was so
potentially
stupid.
shits his pants on a
Exactly,
regular
yeah.
basis? I feel like
Oh my
he
God,
might
you
be
all
in
should
on
watch
it.
Kyle's videos
I feel
recently.
like he may
the
have
last
seen
like
that
2 weeks.
video.
So many times he covered Trump.
I mean, it
being
was like
so
trending on
stupid.
Twitter a year or
He's
two
even
ago.
stupider
because
than
there's more
Biden now.
evidence. I mean, there's
He's
countless
brain
Which
dead.
is amazing, yeah. And both of them are being, well, we know who's being puppeted better by the dark side of the force, Donald Trump.
himself when he's doing meetings.
The fact
with
that people
world
don't
leaders,
see it,
and you got
whereas
people who
everyone
used to
saw it
work
with
at The
Biden.
Apprentice who talk about how
Yep.
he smelled
Pathetic.
horrible and he has trouble controlling his bowels, and it's like this because he does too much speed, too many uppers.
Maybe you
Maybe
shouldn't
he's
do
in on
drugs
it.
then,
Maybe,
you
maybe he
buffoon
knows. Maybe he knows
orangutan.
about it. So a little wink and a nod to that theory right there. And now,
How about
let's
you go
jump
run into a
ahead
creek
to
in?
this point.
Candidates who understand
The new
freedom
mob, if you saw that.
more differently.
Yep.
For Donald Trump and his cronies, freedom means that the powerful can do whatever they please. Fire workers for trying to organize a union.
Oh, the
paying their fair share
horror.
of tax.
Unions.
Try to throw out your votes
Yeah.
when they lose an election.
So evil.
Control what women can and can't do with their bodies.
Oh yeah, women want to have abortion to control their
In
own
other
bodies.
words,
How
for
disgusting.
Freedom is getting away with stuff. It's like he said in the middle of the pandemic. I don't take any responsibility at all. People were dying. I don't take any responsibility at all. Not sure any other president has ever uttered that.
I don't know if Obama says in this one, or maybe it's the other video, but he pointed out, and this is very devastating, that back in 2014, 15, 16, he helped set up the pandemic task force to prepare if a pandemic happened. And of course, Trump got rid of it right before COVID happened.
Of course he did, yep.
Destruction. Because he's a fucking idiot.
We have a broader idea of freedom. We believe in the freedom to provide for our families if we're willing to work. The freedom
Until
to
you
breathe
become
clean air, drink
neoliberal.
clean water, and send our kids to school without worrying if they come home. We
You
believe
talk the
that
talk,
true
but you don't
freedom
walk the
gives
walk.
Each of us the right to
Exactly,
make decisions
yeah.
about
And that's
our
why
lives.
you're such a disappointment.
How we worship, who we marry, what our family looks like. And real freedom also means that we're going to disagree on how each of us should live our lives.
Unlike you guys who want to kill everyone now.
We have to respect other people's views on these issues. You know, I've always said there are good people of conscience on both sides of the abortion divide.
Obama, I don't think so on that one. Pro-lifers are
It isn't
idiots.
something they support.
Yep.
But if
And
we
they get
believe
pretty
in freedom,
violent.
then we should at least agree that such a deeply personal decision should be made by the woman whose body is involved and not by politicians.
But they don't like that, though. They like controlling women and beating them up. And probably raping.
Yep, exactly.
And
Force them to wear a maid outfit, too.
it has been,
Or
it
a
has been
nude
fascinating
apron.
to watch Donald Trump
Or a nurse.
tie himself into a pretzel on this issue. And when he ran for president the first time, he said he would support punishing women who got an abortion. That's what he said.
And that's what pro-lifers think.
Thank you.
Exactly, that's what they, yeah.
Thank you, Trump, for being
A couple weeks
honest.
ago, what did he say? He said, "Don't worry, women. I'll be your protector. I'll tell you how he protected you. He handpicked 3 of the Supreme Court justices
And
who
stole
overturned Roe
Obama's,
versus Wade.
remember.
Went out there and
Yeah.
bragged about it. And now there are Trump abortion bans in 20 states, many of them with no exception for rape or incest.
Along with him raping you all.
And the effectual life of the mother. Yeah, they don't believe in any. They don't want any exceptions.
They don't.
And they also want to legalize. And they also don't want to legalize murdering women who have abortion.
And they want to legalize rape.
Extrajudicially. Yep, legalize rape. Yep, they want to.
Because women
also legalize.
Women have no consent. Don't you know?
Yep, and they want to. Yeah, they also want to lower the age of consent to 7.
Matt Walsh does.
He thinks women want to have to drive hundreds of miles to find a doctor who can help them? Does he think doctors want to choose between letting a woman die or go...
Hey, fellow Mariners, we can make abortion constitutionally amended in our state. If you don't want to vote for Kamala, at least vote for that. Like I am.
Jail
Let's
for
go.
Giving her the life-saving care that she needs. That is not something people chose. Now, Donald Trump may be confused about that issue. But let's not be confused. Let's be clear about what's at stake here. If you send Bob Casey back to the Senate, he'll vote to restore reproductive freedom that women had for nearly 50 years. And
okay, Albom, we'll believe when we see it because we know how you guys didn't do anything
Congress
before.
Passes that bill, Kamala Harris will sign it into law. Because they understand. Freedom is about being able to make the right choice for ourselves and our families. It's about recognizing that other people have the freedom to make their own choices, even if they're different from ours.
I mean, look, he might be their saving grace this election cycle.
Undeniably.
I don't really recall.
Absolutely.
I don't really
and then when Walls destroys elongated Musgrave, that's also W.
Rallies for Hillary. I know it was like the night before the election, or maybe 2 nights before the election, they did a big rally, and he was out there for that.
Take notes, Hillary. You should have been like Obama. Maybe you would have beaten Trump.
Many speeches from Obama.
But of course, you're too racist
this time
to admit
it looks like he's a little more out there.
Because you remember, guys, she did start the birther crap, and
one
Republican she did.
There's no doubt about it. Because he's going to make the argument, he's going to
it
make it in a better way than most other Democrats are able to make it. All right, so now let's give you this one to wrap up on.
I mean, just last week, I talked about this. We had one of the deadliest hurricanes in American history. The beautiful town of Asheville, North Carolina, one of my favorite places in the country.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, more bullshit showed up recently about that. Now we have armed militias attacking FEMA workers because they're idiots.
Of course.
Imagine
because they're bloodthirsty bastards.
Imagine attacking the people who are actually trying to help you.
Spent time there. Amazing people.
Well, actually, look.
Devastated. Hundreds of people killed.
It was. Remember when we last talked about it? Helene was the second deadliest hurricane since Katrina.
Yep.
President Biden and Vice President Harris were down there meeting with local officials and comforting families, asking how they could help. And Donald Trump at a rally just started making up stories about the Biden administration withholding aid from Republican areas and siphoning off aid to give to undocumented.
The only siphon of aid was Republicans in Congress not voting to give FEMA more aid and all that. Which I don't think they have even done it because adjourned for all these weeks and months or whatever because they're cunts and want you all to die. Everything's
just
Republicans'
made the
fault.
Stuff up. Everybody knew it wasn't true. Even local Republicans said it was not true. And now the people of Florida are dealing with another devastating storm. And I want you to watch what happens over the next few days, just like the last time. You're going to have leaders who try to help, and then you have a guy who will just lie about it to score political points, and this has consequences. Because people are afraid, and they've lost everything, and now they're trying to figure out, how do I apply for help? And some of them may be discouraged from getting the help they need. The idea of intentionally trying to deceive people in their most desperate and vulnerable moments. And my question is, when did that become okay? I'm not looking for applause right now. I want to ask Republicans out there. You know, people who are conservative.
All right, as of right now, Helene has caused 228 deaths, unfortunately, which is up massively from last time we talked about it.
Who didn't vote for me? Who didn't agree with me on it? I had friends who disagreed with me on every issue. When did that become okay? Why would we go along with that?
Republicans have always lied to Obama. Remember they lied about you being
I mean,
Kenyan.
if your coworkers acted like that, they wouldn't be your coworkers very long. If you're in business and somebody you're doing business with just outright lies and manipulates, you stop doing business with. Even if you had a family member
because they have power. Like that's why they're able to get away with it.
You might still love them, but you tell them you got a problem. And you wouldn't put them in charge of anything. And yet, when Donald Trump lies or cheats or shows utter disregard for our Constitution, when he calls POWs losers or fellow citizens vermin, people make excuses
rhetoric.
For it. They think it's okay.
Literally Hitler.
Well, at least he's
which we're going to get to in a bit.
Libs. He's
pretty much. Oh my God,
really sticking it to him.
Horrid.
It's okay, as long as our side wins. And by the way, I'm sorry, gentlemen. I've noticed this especially with some men who seem to think Trump's behavior, the bullying and the putting people down, is a sign of strength.
It isn't.
And I am here to tell you,
it's unmanly.
That is not what real strength is.
Yep.
It never has been.
Get triggered, conservatives. Obama's a better version of a man than Trump ever will be. How about that one?
Exactly.
Real strength is about working hard and carrying a heavy load.
And he's African American, which is something Trump absolutely despises because he's evil.
Not just Trump, conservatives in general.
Oh yeah, they all do. That includes Hillary Clinton because she's a bitch.
Oh, imagine the black man being a president and having a family and all that, and they actually like him, unlike Trump.
Ooh. For your actions and telling the truth.
All those racist stereotypes destroyed.
Real strength is about helping people who need it and standing up for those who can't always stand up for themselves. That is what we should want for our daughters and for our sons, and that is what I want to see in a president of the United States of America.
If we didn't have term limits, there never would have been a Trump era. Because Obama would have ran into...
Although I have to remind people, historically there weren't term limits in America. It was like an unofficial, ceremonial, term limit. So Obama might not have run in 2016 regardless if there was term limits, because it was taboos to run against. That's why it was such a big deal for FDR to run again in 1940. But if Obama did run against Trump, he would have won. It's not even debatable, people.
And exactly, yeah. And it would have been a pretty solid win too.
I honestly say any Democrat other than Hillary would have beaten Trump. Biden definitely would have even beaten him too in 2016, even more convincingly.
But at the same token, you have to say
he could have won in a landslide.
Obama wanted Hillary to be his successor over Biden, so in a sense, it's also like you gave us the only candidate who could have been defeated
how about you let
Trump,
Biden run, because he would have won in 2016.
But the point still stands.
He won in 2020 with all the weaknesses of being a brain-dead moron.
I think you would Trump.
So being propped up by the dark side of the force.
They got him out there. They got their probably their
Michael Knowles will be triggered hearing that.
Weapon. It is deployed
now. Of course, because he's triggered about everything.
But I gotta say,
because he wants to get fucked by a trans person.
They need to go more with the strategy.
He would love that.
He was very, very aggressive the entire time against Trump.
He wanted to mess around with a Strider.
And bipartisan commission, and he wasn't doing that.
He wants to have a lava orgy.
He's coming out with the same sort of energy that Kamala and Tim Walz came out with.
Let me put my splash potion of fire resistance on first.
And Biden was no longer the candidate. It was
essentially his version of a condom.
They're not going back. These guys
I love being on fire and not hurt, like a Strider.
All that stuff.
What's this about lava? Now I'm freezing purple.
Post debate, ever since then it's been. Okay, let's reel it in a little bit. Let's take our foot off the gas pedal. And again, the reporting is Kamala and Tim Walz are now listening a lot to the Biden team.
Don't listen to him, Kamala and
Walz.
Don't listen to them ever.
Maybe listen to Obama.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. How about that one? Call these people weird. Call them weirdos. Call them boring. Call them fascists and all that. Keep it going.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, two military generals under Trump just said recently that he is a fascist, which is what we're going to get to in a bit.
They compared him to Hitler.
They were like, no, don't do that. It's too negative.
Oh,
go watch the speech from Obama and tell me that when he's going after Trump, it's not negative. It absolutely
You
fucking
need to
is
grief
negative,
him in
and it's working.
Minecraft. How about that one?
So stop listening to the DNC
like he griefs
consultant
buying all the
class
time
idiots.
in
Stop
President's
doing
Play.
it. And the roadmap he lays out for you here is much more aggressive and much more correct.
And then Biden falls asleep playing all the time.
And by the way, you're not gaining anybody by doing events with Liz Cheney.
And then he starts calling Obama slurs.
But if you take this tremendous energy and ride the wave,
that sounds about right. That sounds about white.
That's what he's laying out for you. Hey, y'all, do me a favor.
So, what do you gotta say about Obama eviscerating Trump to no end, no mercy?
Love it.
Goodness, that was awesome. Now, can you Democrats please be like that all the time? I would love that very much.
Exactly.
Oh, and speaking of which, how about you be like Tim Walz recently calling elongated Musgrave a dipshit? On air, too.
Let's get on to that.
Yeah, let's watch Tim Walz actually being a base shuckle again. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Elongated Musgrave, are you a blitzy as well? Oof, the punishment of being a blitzy with no defense. Imagine with all that HP. Imagine only being a special wall.
That Tim Walz and Kamala and their
one
staffers
physical move and you're
had a
dead.
Conversation. And Tim
You'd be
Walz
hurt by
looked at
even
them and
ghost
said,
type move.
Let me at him. Let me at him. Now, for a very long time, they were kind of hiding Kamala. They were also hiding Tim Walz.
Why would you hide
He
Walz?
wasn't really
He's
doing
beige.
the interview circuit and getting out there as much as he should have been. And, you know, myself and many, many other people were all saying the same thing. This guy's a massive asset. You need to get him out there. He's really, really good at this. Right? I mean,
he may not be good at debates, but he's good at wrecking people other ways like me.
Exactly.
Every single interview he did went viral and had a moment that became a big moment. It was him shooting from the hip. He came up with the whole weird line against Republicans that took off like wildfire, right? Clearly, he's really, really good at this part of politics. He's great at interviews. He's great at, like, witty, soundbite type attacks. Very talented.
Exactly.
And they had handcuffed him for a while, and they were really
even when he didn't do that good in debate. Remember when he humiliated Vance about him denying that Trump lost in 2020? And by the way, recently he did deny Trump lost in 2020, so not surprised there.
Maybe this race is too close for comfort. You know, we're not comfortable with where we're at, and why don't we go back to what we were doing early on?
Shuckle Walz cook. Let him set up his shell smashes and roll out.
Define our opponent
and
more
defense
clearly.
curls.
Exactly.
And helping hand.
They have unleashed Tim Walz. I am very
and
happy
all the other
to
stuff.
report to you, they have unleashed Tim Walz. He is not fucking
Exactly.
around. So let's start with this clip right here. This is the one that went mega viral. Look, 19.2 million views on Twitter. Now,
nice.
They reduced their numbers, so maybe it's
elongated
like 9 million, but even so, that's
pain.
Colossal.
I gotta get hit by a 5-stage rollout.
He also goes after, for the first time that I've seen a Democrat do this, he goes in on Elon Musk. Let's watch.
Hey, if you all thought Obama destroying Trump was good, oh boy, this is gonna be just as good. It's hilarious.
And that's not a joke. But look, I'm not gonna waste all the time I'm in. I'm gonna talk about his running mate. His running mate, Elon Musk.
His running mate, Elon Musk.
Crowd is feeling it.
There is one thing I gotta say though, Walls, and this applies to all Democrats. You need to call him the nickname Aaron Tesla called him. You need to call him Elongated Musgrave. Elongated Musgrave. Call him Elongated Musgrave. And make him look like a rat, because he is.
Where is Senator Vance after he got asked the simplest question in the world at the debate? Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
He couldn't answer it, and he didn't. And he said no, he did not lose later on. Not surprised.
Exactly.
And after 2 weeks, he finally said no, he didn't. That's where he's been spending his time. But that's it. So, look, Elon's on that stage, jumping around, skipping like a dipshit.
A lot of people tried to flip this on Walls and said, look, you got some weird body movement.
500 million damage! Exactly!
Hey, Elongated Musgrave, did you forgot to use Protect there? Oof!
Protect would not have helped. Protect would not have helped. Not with that amount of damage.
Somebody pointed out the other day on Twitter
that weak of a Blitzy.
That's him trying to make an X with his body, which is why he does it all the time. But
I bet my Blitzy would destroy you, Elongated Musgrave, and all you Republicans, because you're weak. You're not top 100% Blitzy like my Blitzy.
to look like that. It just looks like he's awkwardly jumping, right?
You're too busy being the
And
juggler
so
saying,
that was a
whoops,
moment.
dropped my
Everybody
balls.
said, you look like a fucking goofball. You look like a weirdo. You know who else thought it looked weird?
Or you'll be too
Donald
busy
Trump.
saying, I
Look at
like
Donald
shorts,
Trump's
they're
face
comfy
as
and
Elon is
easy to
behind him
wear.
Doing that, he's got a look on his face like, wow,
Imagine
I'm
being
fucking
such a
campaigning
boomer
with
that
this
you don't know
idiot. Fuck
Pokemon
this guy.
memes.
God damn it, give me the money and piss off.
Wow,
That's
that's awesome.
that Donald Trump has on. And look, if Joe Biden in 2020
No, they'll be too busy going,
or Kamala
this
and Tim
gym
Walz
is great,
this
it's
time
full
around,
of women.
if they were barnstorming the country, doing events
Too
with
busy
George
stripping
Soros,
Erica in
where
their
George
eyes.
Soros would give speeches, and George Soros was very present. And
Is there any
campaigning
wonder
for
why
these people
they
day
why
in
they
and
have to
day out,
make a
making
night
arguments.
gym in Lavender Town for the guys?
It's a wonder why they're not banned from this gym either.
For them doing misinformation and lies against the Democratic opponent. If that was George Soros, everybody on the right would be like, "Oh my God, oh my God."
That'd be going
Yep.
Chrysler 50 trillion times.
Not only would they be freaking out like elongated Musgrave is, but they'll throw in anti-Semitic slurs too.
The cabal of
course they
globalists,
would.
it's out in the open.
That's what, because
Here's the conspiracy
unfortunately,
right
that's
here.
what how
George
they've
Soros,
always
the
been.
oligarch, kleptocrat,
Because the
evil
Republican
billionaire
Party is anti-Semitic.
Is front and center.
Yep.
It's
What's
all
going on
the
here? This is the most
isms.
corrupt thing I've ever seen in my life. Ever.
Every
It's not even
negativist in the
close.
book.
But when it's Elon Musk on the other side, the literal
then
richest
they have to
man in
enchant
the
it.
world, trying to buy the election for Donald Trump. Shh, mums the word
then
on the
grief
right. And you
players
still
with
have
it.
a bunch of idiots out there pretending like, oh, bro, Trump's a populist.
I want
Trump's
to put knock back
anti-establishment,
$1
which is why he's
million on my
campaigning with the
book.
richest guy in the world, and sucking him off on a regular basis, and talking
then
about
you
how he
fly
wants to
in
give rich
1,000,000
people tax
blocks.
cuts, bro. So anti-establishment, bro.
Yeah, one
Let's stop playing the stupid game. And the other thing is, Elon has it out
oh,
there.
by the way, you don't take any damage when you punch your way through all the mountains and that. But once you hit that millionth step and stop, you take so much damage that your game crashes out.
Way too long, with way too
So
much
they
dirt on
got-
him.
so
for
they're
nobody
trying to
ever
do
lay a fucking
500
glove on
million
his
damage
dumbass.
and fail.
Okay? Who are we kidding? This is the guy who said, I'm going to save Twitter because of free speech. I love free speech. Then he comes in there and starts
Let's promote
banning journalists he
Nazis.
doesn't like.
Let's censor
banning Ken
liberals.
Klippenstein because of the J.D. Vance dossier.
Exactly.
Banning
Because
the
that's
Elon
what
Like they
they
did with
always
Ken
do.
publicly
Klippenstein.
available information and putting it out there.
Yep, exactly.
The guy is a total hack. The guy is a total fraud.
Just like
I
I'm
highly
tired of
recommend
seeing Nazis
you go
promoting
watch
my Twitter every morning I
Thunderfoot
wake
videos
up.
on Elon Musk.
Like I did
He's
you with
tracked
earlier.
His
So be
business
happy while
career
you're
to this
sleeping.
point.
I was raging
and it's
at
all a
cunts.
myth, just like with Trump. Oh, it's a myth of him being a great
Yeah,
businessman.
Like
Exactly.
fucking
Bankrupted
Nico
his
House.
businesses 6 different times. He's not a great
Yep.
businessman. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He got
That
$400
was
million from his daddy.
unbelievable way
It's
to
all
wake up.
branding.
My
He's not a good
goodness.
businessman. Same with Elon
That
Musk,
is
where
insane.
he's committed
Imagine being such a dumb
fraud
leftist you
countless
go
times.
full
Countless
anti-Semitic.
times. Again, don't take my word for it. Go
Yeah.
watch the Thunderfoot videos on Elon Musk and his business career. The guy's a fraud. The guy's an absolute fraud. And remember when he came, he bought Twitter? Oh, Twitter needs to be politically neutral. We need to piss off the far left and the far right equally.
But that
and that's
means
how
you
we know
can't
we're doing a
promote
good job. And
Nazis,
then what
which
did
you
he do?
love doing.
The exact
Exactly.
opposite. Now he's
But
campaigning
no,
for
Texas
like
the home for
signal
Nazi
boosting,
speech.
outright white nationalist garbage on everybody's Twitter timeline
Yep.
every single
Thank you,
day.
Kyle, for saying what I've
So
seen.
yeah, he had this coming. He had this
I'm
coming.
tired of waking
and
up
he is a
seeing
fucking
it.
dipshit. He absolutely is a dipshit. I'm so sick. The saddest
Oh,
existence
finally,
in the world
some NFL
is
stuff
in
for
the year
once
of
on
our
my-
Lord
my
2024
friend. Thank you.
being an Elon Musk
About
simp.
time.
That's the saddest a Trump simp is less embarrassing than an Elon Musk simp. Let's call a spade a spade.
Exactly.
Gave $75 million, try to buy the election for Trump. And by the way, he said to Tucker while laughing, like, how long do you think I'm going to go to prison if Kamala ends up winning? Meanwhile, he was also saying, oh, Trump's gonna save us from, he's going to release the Epstein files. And he's going to release, like, the Diddy files. And it's like, motherfucker, Trump was friends with both of them. Trump's been on Epstein's plane.
Exactly.
You know both of them. What are you talking
But we
about?
love
There's no
being
pictures of
pedos.
Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. No evidence of them hanging
there's
out with
all
Epstein or
pedophiles.
Diddy. Fuck are you talking about? Oh, I hate him so much. I hate him so much. All right, I think I got
We're
one
friends
more
with Matt Walsh.
here from Tim Walz. Let's get it.
He missed
Yep,
an opportunity,
exactly.
though. Being at McDonald's, he looks much
Oh yeah! Just recently, guys.
Oh,
Trump
yeah.
pretended to work at McDonald's recently. Oh, what an idiot!
Yep, I
He was
remember
so-
that. Yeah.
It was all staged too because no one would actually hire him because he's a moron.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know
Exactly.
he wouldn't even know how to work a fryer.
more like Ronald McDonald,
Of
the
course.
clown that he actually is.
Gloves are off, bro. Gloves are off. They've seen the polls. They
I
see
want
the race
this
is
walls
close.
every
They
day,
see that
please.
the being defensive
Imagine
and
being
Yes,
worse, and they're
president.
like, fuck it, let's go
Imagine
balls
being
to the
run for
wall. Fuck
president
this guy.
2032.
Yeah. awesome.
Tell me you don't see this one coming from a mile away. And Ronald wears less makeup. You saw it coming. You saw it coming.
The crowd is enjoying this, man. This is like a stand-up comedy
Because
routine.
he's a base shocker.
And
Who
by the way,
would
this is
enjoy
what
it?
Trump used to do so well.
Exactly,
It's
yeah.
funny.
Because Pokemon's
The
awesome.
Democrats are usually like,
And conservatives hate Pokemon because they
let me
are
read
bad
from
at it, like
policy
Villicify.
page and say,
Yes, exactly.
Like, and
They're
it was
too
just
busy
not-
No, they're not as bad as
This is it.
Villicify. They're not far off, but they're not as bad as Villicify.
We'll make our team half West Coast Gastrodon like he did in BDSP.
Yeah.
Restaurant. That
They get
restaurant
completely
wasn't
swept by
even open.
Roserade.
And
It
then
was
he
a stop.
rage quits on his stream, which was
Fake
hilarious.
orders.
Because he's a
for
brain
fake
dead
customers.
fucktard.
Because he doesn't know how to
They
make
even
teams.
staged the drive-thru. We know
course
that.
he does
They
that.
won't
That requires
let
too
you
much
walk through the damn
thinking.
drive-thru. We knew that. They saw
Yeah,
that
for not
happening.
being a brain dead
So look,
fucktard.
everything
And he's
about
bad
this
at
guy is
Pokemon,
fake.
like conservatives.
Everything he does is fake.
He always is.
And then he shits on Temtem.
Of course he
Next.
does.
Next, he's going to be telling you he's a cop or a construction worker. Because he dances to the village people, so he knows. And
Did they? Okay, serious question. Did they recruit like some left-wing comedians to write this? Did they?
No, I think
'Cause I
Walls is
have
just
never seen
genuine
this from
because
the
he's
Democrats.
I'll tell you
based.
this, that 5 minutes he stood next to the deep fryer, I'll
And-
guarantee you that's the hardest that guy.
And of course, there's idiot dumb leftists that hate him
Yeah.
online,
Not a joke.
even though he's
Yeah,
based.
because they're
Gotta go off this whole rally.
they're the ones that still
They'll never.
they're the ones that still they want right wingers to win
Yep.
because they believe in accelerationism.
Imagine finally having a progressive and you don't want to vote for them because they're a Democrat. Oh, how evil!
I mean, I'm only showing you 2 clips. I bet the whole rally is,
They're idiots.
Fire.
Completely.
So anyway,
they got no idea what they're doing.
dude.
And then I have to deal with them every morning while you
Ever
sleep.
Since Kamala
How's
went on
that
Fox
feel?
News and absolutely ripped to shreds.
You've
Rick
seen
Baer
the
with his
idiots I've
Botoxed
dealt
ass
with.
Face. They've been aggressive. They've been aggressive. This is good. This is a great trajectory that I'm seeing.
Hey, Kamala,
y'all, do me a favor.
let Walls and Obama cook, and you stop pandering to Republicans, and
Exactly.
you'll have a better chance at winning. You can't just rely on Trump being a brain dead
Exactly.
idiot. Don't make the same mistake Hillary did now. So yeah, we gotta say about based Walls destroying
Epic.
elongated Musgrave. Oh, it was awesome. How nice of not to censor him saying dipshit, and you wonder why I called him dipshit
Yeah,
in the
which
thing.
is awesome.
Awesome. All right. So now on to the next topic.
And that'll be Trump's latest Hitler moment.
Now we gotta not be able to laugh, as so many generals just came out recently pointing out that he is a Nazi and all that, and they're gonna actually talk about it because oh my god, his recent gaffe was he wants American generals to be loyal like Hitler's generals, which is actually inaccurate. I mean, a bunch of them tried to kill him in Operation Valkyrie or whatever it was.
I remember that one.
So, yeah, they're not that loyal, and they're smarter than him, because German generals in World War II were, by and large, knew what they were doing. Why do you think why they did so well? Alright, so now let's see how much of a fucking idiot he is.
All right, guys. So there was a big story that broke the other day in the Atlantic. I'm going to walk you through it now. But let me start by pointing out a different part of the article that people aren't talking about nearly as much. So there was a female U.S. soldier who was killed at one of our military bases, and it became a big story nationally.
Because they blame Biden for it, I remember
Trump
it.
met with the family.
Of course, because they blame everything on Biden.
I thought he was too brain dead and falling asleep all the time, so how is it his fault?
Remember the mind of the fascist. The enemy is
It's strong and weak at the
insanely
same
weak
time.
and insanely strong at the same
Told
time.
them, like, look, don't worry about it. We'll pay for the funeral and all.
Guys, we could probably do a topic on all the 14 signs of fascists, and Trump probably passes every single one of them easily.
That stuff. We'll mark it down. As
Maybe we should do that in the future.
Yes.
she got killed
Maybe you need to look up the signs then for us to cover.
in battle. So, she gets everything that goes hand in hand with that. And
because that's one of the signs, and he
later
passed it
on,
flying colors.
They got, a bill for it to the White House, and it cost $60,000. And Trump allegedly said, $60,000, it doesn't cost that much to bury a fucking Mexican.
Racist much?
Oh!
Racist much?
Now, that part...
And also, Trump, $60,000 is nothing for America's military, which gets hundreds of billions of dollars a year. So stop crying like a Karen cunt. And also, maybe you should hold off your racism. It doesn't look good.
The story is literally the less talked about part of the story, which shows you how bad the story actually is, right?
I mean,
so,
who can blame that so blatantly racist?
Here's the title. Ready?
Yeah.
Trump, quote, I need the kind of generals that Hitler had.
Yep.
Subtitle: The Republican nominee's
no
preoccupation
for
with
you.
dictator
Sorry,
and his
pal.
disdain for the American military.
Mm-hmm.
So
and he wasn't even loyal either.
When he said,
that's why he was
exactly.
That's why he was
presidential
forced to
medal
kill himself after
of
Valkyrie failed.
honor is better than the Presidential Medal of Freedom, or vice versa. Actually, basically, the one that's for civilians, he said, is better than the one that's for the military.
And remember
because
his
for the
Arlington
military,
debacle?
They're so injured. They're so battered up. They're so bruised that isn't it better to just be a billionaire donor to me and I give you a medal because you're a billionaire donor to me?
Who tried to kick him out because they were doing stuff they weren't supposed to do?
Serving your nation. And that was huge backlash. A lot of military people literally abandoned him after hearing that. Of course, he said the thing about John McCain. He was captured. I like people who weren't captured. Right.
Yep.
And this is apparently a theme.
Good job making
It's a
McCain
theme
pissed off to
in
vote
the studies.
against you
He
for
said,
Obamacare repeal.
It's
Good
only
job,
suckers and
thank
losers went to
you.
Vietnam. I got out of Vietnam.
I'm serious. Thank you for
He
being so
called his
stupid. You
personal
saved
Vietnam,
us.
dodging STDs in the 80s, right? 70s or 80s. But here's the main part of this article. This is now the third person at the top levels of the Trump administration who's now come out and verified, yeah, he's a fascist.
So third now instead of two,
He's
which
a
I said
fascist.
earlier.
Yep.
It was
that's three.
It was Mattis, and now it's John Kelly. Trump once asked John Kelly, quote, why can't you be like the German generals? In their book, The Divider, Trump in the White House, Peter Baker and Susan Glasser reported that Trump asked John Kelly, his chief of staff at the time, why can't you be like the German generals? Trump, at various points, had grown frustrated with military officials he deemed disloyal and disobedient.
They're not supposed to be loyal to you, you idiot. They're supposed to be...
Exactly.
They're supposed to be indifferent, you stupid fuck.
...to flag officers as my generals.
Exactly.
According to Baker and Glasser, Kelly explained to Trump that German generals, quote, tried to kill Hitler 3 times and almost pulled it off.
Yeah.
The correction did not move Trump to reconsider his view. No. They were totally loyal to him, the president responded.
Trump, you don't know anything about World War II. So
Trump raised the subject
he doesn't have any idea about anything. So, of course he doesn't know anything about that.
He would be the one that would spam Splash and Magic Cup and wonder why it's not working.
The generals, Kelly responded by asking,
pretty much.
You mean Bismarck's generals? He went on. I mean, I knew he didn't know who Bismarck was or about the Franco-Prussian War. I said, do you mean the Kaiser's generals? Surely you can't mean Hitler's generals. And he said,
wouldn't even know what the German
generals.
Empire or the Franco-Prussian War, all that even is.
Suicide after taking part in a plot against Hitler. Kelly told me Trump was not acquainted with Rommel. Jesus Christ.
Imagine not knowing who Erwin Rommel is. Maybe you need to watch Girls on Panzer.
Be more like the German generals. And in his mind, it's like the Hitler's generals were endlessly loyal, hung on his every word, never questioned him, never gave their own 2 cents. And that's what he wants from U.S. generals.
They were the exact opposite. They did whatever they pretty much felt like. And at times when they wanted to actually do stuff, like the one general who wanted to evacuate after Stalingrad's offensive failed, Hitler forced him to stay, and then the whole front got captured a few months later, remember? And all that. The only ones that were loyal were Stalin's generals for a lot of time because they were afraid he was gonna kill them.
He wants. In other words,
except Zhukov.
When Trump came out and said during the George Floyd protests and riots, we're going to invoke the Insurrection Act and use the U.S. military against our own people, against the First Amendment, and all the generals were like, we're not doing that.
Because they know what your job is. And they know the Constitution, unlike
become an authoritarian menace
because I told toilet paper like Beavis and Butthead.
And they go on in this piece to talk about, his true and genuine affinity for dictators and how he looks up to dictators and he wants to be a dictator.
Yikes.
None of this should be surprising.
Yep, dictator.
What's crazy is, here we are, discuss a direct quote from Trump about how you need to be more like Hitler's generals. And by the way,
they are being like Hitler's generals in this regard.
The biggest newspapers
they're being independent, which they're supposed to be in America. How about that one?
It's like we've hit.
Maybe you should look at Stalin instead, pal.
With Trump scandals, that huge things come out, and everybody's just like, it's Trump.
And which will make tankies mad too.
Let him get away. You can't let him get away.
I love Stalin.
And he does. He genuinely and sincerely does. So now, again, I want to reiterate,
Senpai,
the third
I love you.
member of Trump's administration at the highest levels, which have come out and said, he's 100%
Tickle me with your mustache.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, again, don't say you weren't warned beforehand. Not that it's all that hard to piece together, given you tried to overthrow the last election, but now you're getting direct Hitler quotes that are absolutely mind.
Yeah, pretty terrible.
All right, guy.
But not surprising considering that he had that thing. He had the Hitler quote stuff near his bed.
Yep. So we gotta say about that. Trump wanting to bring back the Third Reich so badly, people. How about that? Oh my gosh. And now we're on to our last topic, I believe.
We are! Tulsi Gabbard completing her grift.
Remember back
The resistance Dems were right, and I am so annoyed about that.
Remember back in 2020, I wanted Sanders to pick her to be his VP.
Yes!
How the mighty have fallen. Which, of course, we knew from like the last 2 years she was going to do this, and boy, were we right on that one, as Tulsi is now an admitted Republican, because she's a grifting cunt.
Yeah.
This sucks to say as someone who had to defend her from all those idiots back then because they're so warmongering and all that. Alright, so let's see this shit for what it is, Tulsi. What did you do this time?
Alright, y'all. So, it finally happened. The vile grift is now officially complete. And when I say that, what I mean is Tulsi Gabbard, with her long political evolution, has finally reached its logical conclusion. Here's what she said.
It is because of my love for our country, and specifically because of the leadership that President Trump has brought to transform the Republican Party and bring it back to the party of the people and the party of...
May I remind you all, she shat on Trump in 2016 and 2020, for crying out loud. Now all of a sudden she's like, Trump is awesome. Like, this is such a grift.
Peace. That I'm proud to stand here with you today, President Trump, and announce that I'm joining the Republican Party.
Okay, let's just lay it out there right now.
Let me just go convert into a drowned.
Every single one of the resistance liberals who were saying, red flag, when I look at her from the very beginning, they were all right. Every single one of them was right. They were all right.
Oh, look, I got a Triton as my conversion. Here you go, Tulsi.
Because I'm naive, I take people at face value. If I see somebody who's making an argument that's going against the Democrats,
whatever to make it stronger, whatever
it's nominally an argument to the left of the Democrats.
I don't remember
saying,
either.
Democrats aren't left-wing enough. They're too conservative. They're too right-wing. I'm against that. I want them to be more left.
Yeah, guys, for all of you who don't remember, 2016 and early part in 2020, she was a Bernie supporter and all that. And she
I remember that.
And I remember all the idiots Democrats back then. After Bernie dropped out, she was going like, she's going to support Trump, or she's going to support third party, or whatever. And she kept insisting that she was going to support Biden and all that, and she did. And then she made them all look like idiots. But now, unfortunately, she's gone to the dark side. A complete and utter grift in like 4 years. Again, that's what all these, like, I don't even know if I would even call her a dumb leftist. She's probably just a straight up grifter. Like Jackson Dinkelberg.
Yeah, she is. Absolutely she is now.
Jackson Dinkelberg. And H.A. Goodman from years ago.
I see that.
Oh, yeah.
I go, oh, that makes perfect sense. Those are arguments that I make all the time, right? But the difference is, I mean it. She didn't. She went from supporting Bernie Sanders to
endorsing
Joe Biden in 2020 to now campaigning for Trump and joining the Republican Party in 2024. How does one do that? By the way, I've said it before. If you're a grown-ass person and you change all of your political beliefs, your policy beliefs, that is sketchy as fuck. That smells like a grifter from a mile away.
Grifting.
Because there's one thing, it's natural to learn and evolve, and maybe on 2 or 3 issues, it's like, yeah, I was kind of wrong about that. But to say every single thing I believed, every single deeply held belief and value I had, now I'm in the exact opposite. It's like, wow, that seems really fucking convenient and really fucking hacky. The fact of the matter is, she burned every bridge on the left wing of the political spectrum, and then she said, well, what am I going to do? I guess I'll just go this way. Sort of, the inverse of like Liz Cheney, right? Where it's like, she burned every bridge with the right.
Because Liz Cheney doesn't support our policies whatsoever. Yeah, she doesn't support our policies.
We're on her, and she got blown out. And it's like, well, like, either get out of politics or just go join the other side. And what she's only join the other side.
Kyle, she's only voting for Kamala for the same reason I am, to keep Trump out. That's it. If I'm telling you, Kyle, if 2028 Kamala wins and there's like a normal Republican like Nikki Haley runs instead, she's gonna vote for Haley. Like, she's not like all of a sudden like some ripped in like liberal.
Just like Tulsi Gabbard. So now look, we got to call spade a spade, right? Now everybody's suspect now. When it's like, hey, you're criticizing the Democrats from the left. It's like, is this going to end in 5 years where all of a sudden you agree with every right-wing idiotic policy?
I mean, I've been criticizing Dems since 2014, and I'm still progressive.
Right? The party of peace now. The Republicans are the party of peace. Don't look at Trump increasing drone strikes 432%.
Trying to start wars with North Korea,
in his first
Syria,
2 years.
Yep, trying to start World War
China,
Don't look
Mexico,
at the 330% increase in civilian deaths in Afghanistan.
Trying to start World War III.
Somalia. Don't look at
him.
To
get the entire planet.
But he's pro-peace.
The US.
But he's the pro-peace candidate, don't you know?
Of course he said that.
I had to deal with
Is a moron. Is it evil?
I had to deal with yesterday with idiots. Dumb leftists actually saying that Trump's somehow bearing Kamala now. That was not a good way to wake up.
Don't look at
imagine spending 2 hours in bed on your phone dealing with those cunts.
Peace,
and then they all block you. And then they all block you.
Even though
it's
these are the same people
I got them that mad.
Democrats from the party of Dick Cheney, bro. That's what they are, bro. And they never say anything about, well, Tom Cotton's in your coalition. Lindsey Graham's in your coalition. Mike Pompeo's in your coalition.
Nikki Haley, too.
So you have more neocons supporting the Republicans than Trump. But no, supporting
Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney endorsed Kamala, therefore Kamala is worse than Trump now. And yes, I've seen dumb leftists actually make that argument.
Pulled out of Afghanistan.
Like freaking Nick
Not a
Cruz.
fucking word. Not a word.
Of course, because they want Trump to win.
Oh yeah, remember Nico House? I showed a tweet months ago. He said that Trump was the lesser evil.
I don't believe her. She's full of shit. She's a careerist hack. And now, every critic from the very beginning, the cringe resistance liberals who we all looked at and were like, ugh, these people are disgusting. Every one of them was right about Tulsi. Every single one of them. And we all need to acknowledge that. We all need to realize that.
I'm still not going to change the fact what they said about her was also wrong about them wanting to be like warmongers because they were so like bloodthirsty. Remember they kept calling her like a Assad puppet and all that.
I remember that.
Because they wanted to overthrow Assad in like a bloodthirsty orgy because they were so warmongery. I'm not going to ever
remember that.
I've burned enough times with the Jimmy Dores and the Russell Brands and the fucking Tulsi Gabbards. I've been burned enough times where I'm not going to come out here in white knight and cape for you when people are saying, you look like you're doing a whole right-wing transition grift.
Oh, it reminds me, too. Nick Cruz just said the other day, because Kyle did a funny meme making fun of conservatives, and all of a sudden Nick Cruz out where said that Kyle is becoming a right-wing dipshit now.
Wow! You're the right-winger You're the right-wing dipshit now.
Imagine thinking Kyle is right-wing.
I will not be there to say that's not.
But everyone to the right of Lenin is right-wing.
Oh, that's right. Remember I was called a genocide enabler the other day?
Yep, I remember that.
Because I didn't want to destroy America or Israel.
Times it ends up being true.
Yeah, I want to destroy my home. Yeah, that's exactly what I want.
All these sorts of people.
I want the Native Americans to come up here and kill me. Yeah, that's exactly what I want.
Break with democratic or liberal or leftist orthodoxy from time to time. It's clearly not true because I'm somebody who does that all the time, but I know where my values are and I know where I am, right?
Because you're not fully 100% stupid, Kyle. You are stupid on the Russo. You're stupid on the Russo-Ukranian War, but on other things, no.
The most pathetic losers. And you should feel personally burned.
You're not a grifting cunt like these people.
They burned all of us. What they're advertising
you're
themselves
like the most genuine person
as, and what they ended up actually being,
which makes us really disappointed that you don't support Ukraine.
That is worthy of no respect at all. All right, guys.
No respect for those cunts whatsoever. So we got to see about Tulsi completing her far right grift, just like Karen Kasparian will soon too.
Yep.
And then maybe Chunk Yogurt will too.
And then there'll be the old turds.
Yep. And they'll probably start. Oh no! I was about to make an Armenian reference. Oh no! I probably shouldn't go that far yet after Cenk changed. But who knows? Maybe Cenk all of a sudden will go back to denying the Armenian genocide again. Oh no!
I think there'll be other genocides he'd do instead.
Ukrainians, of course, because they don't want Ukrainians to defend themselves. So yeah, guys, that was wild. Now. That's all the topics, but I thought one quick thing before we leave. And of course, next episode, of course, will be after the American presidential election. So, do you want to maybe do some predictions?
Oh, I'm thinking it's too close.
I'm still in the camp.
It is genuinely too close.
I'm still in the camp since 2022 that I think whoever Democrat's going to be is going to win. Because Trump has so many issues and all that, especially just now with the other recent stuff. And they were, like, let's talk elections. All of them have been covering more polls recently. Kamala's starting to recover a bit because she hasn't been as horrible lately like she was, like, a few weeks ago. So, what about, like, Congress and all that?
Yeah. I think the Democrats will hold on to the Senate. And the gap might be small enough that they can narrowly retake the House.
Which would be very based and all that. Hey, maybe Walden will have to be the tiebreaker again like Kamala was the first 2 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully, you don't fuck up enough, Kamala, and Democrats can win. Because remember, there's a bunch of states, including mine, abortion referendum up to codify in our state's constitution. That's going to be a big draw and all that. So, of course, my state's going to go to Kamala no matter what, so it's not going to matter much. But our states, like Florida, that would be very nice if you all could pull that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still think Kamala's going to win. You think it's too close to call, you said?
Yes.
All right, and one last thing I thought of, too. Since you're a foreigner here, what we had to say about people who might be undecided still to Americans?
I don't know why you're undecided. Kamala Harris is obviously the better choice.
Like Mike just had a meltdown recently covering the undecided voters.
Yeah.
So that's your pitch. You're all stupid.
Yeah.
Suck it up, like me, even in a deep blue state. Just remember, all you progressives out there, think about walls. 2032. 8 years, potentially 4 to 8 years as VP. Maybe it will finally be able to show liberals, progressives like Bernie, and Walls are actually based. We should vote for them in 2032. And all that.
Yep.
So that's your pitch. Stop being stupid. Suck it up like fatty.
Yep.
Suck it up like a sponge in Minecraft. So yeah, guys. Next time, of course, we'll cover the recap of the election, who won, and why did the loser lose. And oh boy, since I think Trump's going to lose, I'm going to have a fun time mocking him. Oh boy. So get ready to suck it up and vote for K-Hive next week, guys, while you are going to be asleep, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, see you all next time for episode 115.